I've never talked
That's
about your lip quiver moments after you've quivered them lips.
I don't think my eyes could roll any more or less. Just
They probably can roll so much because they've been emptied.
both.
Yeah, from all them tears lately. I'm sorry we missed one Taco Tuesday. You can let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Don't think about tacos no more. Hey everybody, welcome into Folklore and Flourish. You're here with Jane, Mark, and Molly over at Blue Box 29. I tried to set her back down and she jumped right back up.
But gosh, if you could only see her eyes, you're gonna have to zoom in on it when you edit it, because that was cute.
We are here on February 23rd, our final week of February. It's crazy to think that we are already
Right?
ending our second month of the year. Today is all about the marriage. So February 23rd, we are in week 4, Love Beyond Life. But today is the marriage. We're going to look at 4 different types of marriage traditions, thoughts, feelings, ceremonies today, and that's going to be really exciting. Our theme is sacred union, of course, within these marriages. And we're going to look at Greek, Jewish, Andean, and Norse folklore today. And we're going to look at some marriage themes. And so it's a little bit happier theme today. Hopeful, right on the brink of marriage. Everything is at its best. It's most hopeful. And so here are your 4 stories. We'll see you after this. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1. The Heros Gamos. In ancient Greece, marriage was not only personal, it was cosmic. The Heros Gamos, meaning sacred marriage, was a ritual reenactment of divine union. It symbolized the joining of sky and earth, god and goddess, ruler and lamb. The ceremony was not about romance, it was about balance. In some regions, especially in Athens and other city-states, festivals honored the sacred union of Zeus and Hera. In agricultural communities, the rite represented the marriage of heaven's rain and earth's fertility. Without union, there would be no harvest. Without covenant, no continuity. During certain festivals, a high priestess and a political or ritual leader would symbolically enact this sacred marriage. The act was less about physical intimacy and more about public affirmation. The land must be honored. The gods must be aligned. The people must witness covenant. Marriage here was not private affection. It was renewal of order. The ritual declared that harmony between masculine and feminine principles sustained the world. It was understood that union, when properly aligned, ensured abundance. Crops would grow, livestock would thrive, the city would prosper. The sacred marriage was a reminder that partnership carried responsibility. The divine union was not flawless mythology. Zeus and Hera were not gentle figures. But the ritual did not celebrate their arguments. It celebrated their bond as stabilizing force. Even imperfect unions, when honored, sustained structure. The Hieros Gamos also echoed in mystery traditions. In some cultic rites, initiates symbolically participated in sacred union ceremonies to represent rebirth and renewal. The marriage of heaven and earth was also the marriage of spirit and body. Covenant was not sentimental, it was structural. In Greek thought, love without structure was chaos. Structure without love was sterility. Sacred marriage joined the two. This was a worldview in which vows were not whispered in isolation. They were enacted before gods, land, and community. Unlike tragic lovers who defy society, the sacred marriage affirmed it. Unlike private devotion, it bound collective fate. The ritual proclaimed that union is not merely desire, it is alignment. It is promise enacted publicly. It is responsibility to something larger than oneself. When the sacred marriage was performed, it was believed the land responded. Rain fell, fields flourished, the cosmos steadied. Whether taken literally or symbolically, the message was clear. Marriage is not only about two people, it is about sustaining life itself. Story 2, the Ketubah. In ancient Jewish tradition, marriage was not sealed by romance alone, it was written. The Ketubah, a formal marriage contract, emerged over 2,000 years ago as a legal and spiritual covenant between husband and wife. It was not optional ornamentation, it was required. Before witnesses, before community, the obligations were declared. The document outlined the husband's responsibilities: provision, protection, emotional and physical care. It safeguarded the wife's rights in the event of divorce or death. It ensured that marriage was not merely possession, but promise. Love was structured. Commitment was defined. In a world where women in many cultures held little legal standing, the Ketubah functioned as protection. It declared publicly that marriage carried weight and accountability. The ceremony itself emphasized covenant. Under the kuppah, the wedding canopy, representing the home the couple would build, the contract was read aloud. Witnesses signed, community affirmed. The vows were not vague aspirations. They were binding commitments. Marriage was not understood as fleeting emotion. It was partnership under divine law. The Ketubah also reflected a broader theological idea. The covenant defines relationship. Just as God made covenants with Israel, so too did spouses enter covenant with one another. Marriage mirrored sacred promise. The written nature of the contract mattered. Words fixed on parchment endure beyond mood. They create stability where feeling may fluctuate. The Ketubah did not diminish romance, it protected it. By clarifying expectation and responsibility, it allowed affection to rest on firm ground. Love was not left to chance. It was stewarded. Over centuries, Ketubah texts evolved. Some became ornate works of art. Some, modern versions, include mutual language reflecting contemporary values. But the heart remains unchanged. Marriage is covenant. It is public promise witnessed by community. It is love expressed through responsibility. Unlike tragic lovers who defy social order, the Ketubah affirms it. Unlike sacred reenactments of gods, it grounds union in everyday life. It declares that love is not only feeling, it is commitment written, signed, and upheld. And in that structure, sacred union finds endurance. Story 3, Pachamama Marriage Blessings. In the high Andes, marriage is not complete until the earth is fed. In Cueca and Aymara communities, union is understood as relationship not only between bride and groom, but between family ancestors and Pachamama, the living earth mother. Before vows are spoken, offerings are prepared. Leaves of coca, grains, wine, sweets, sometimes llama fat. The ritual, called the despacho, is assembled carefully of unwoven cloth. Each element represents reciprocity. Nothing is taken without gratitude. Nothing is joined without balance. The couple does not stand alone. They kneel beside soil. An elder or ritual specialist offers prayers to Pachamama, asking her to bless the union, to grant fertility, prosperity, and harmony. The offering is burned or buried. Smoke rises. The earth receives. Marriage here is not contract alone. It is covenant with land. The Andean worldview is built on Aini, sacred reciprocity. To live well is to give back. To marry is to promise not only devotion to one another, but stewardship of place. Love is not isolated. It is embedded. In some communities, couples are symbolically bound with woven cords or blankets, wrapped together to represent shared warmth or shared labor. Families surround them, not as spectators, but as participants. Union strengthens community. Community strengthens union. There is no sharp separation between sacred and ordinary life. Farming, planting, harvest, and marriage all exist within the same cycle of giving and receiving. If drought comes, offerings increase. If hardship comes, prayer deepens. Marriage is not immune from struggle, but it is sustained by reciprocity. Unlike romantic myths of rebellion or tragic fate, Andean marriage rituals center continuity. The blessing asks that the couple grow roots like mountain grasses and bend without breaking. The land witnesses the vow. The ancestors witness the vow. The couple becomes part of a lineage larger than themselves. Sacred union, in this tradition, is not about escape from earth. It is about deeper belonging to it. When the offering smoke rises into thin mountain air, the message is clear. Love thrives when it is aligned with balance. In covenant is strongness when it remembers the ground beneath it. Story 4. Viking Wedding Oath Customs. In Viking Age Scandinavia, marriage was not a private promise. It was an oath. Among Norse communities, weddings were communal events lasting several days, binding not only two individuals, but two families. Love mattered, but so did alliance, honor, and survival. Marriage was covenant, backed by reputation. The ceremony often took place on a Friday, sacred to Frigg, goddess of marriage and household. Before witnesses, the groom would present a sword, sometimes an ancestral blade, to the bride. She might gift him a sword of her own. Steel exchanged hands, power shared. The sword symbolized protection and lineage. To give one was to entrust future generations. Rings were placed upon the hilt of the ceremonial sword during the oath-taking. When vows were spoken, they were sworn upon the weapon. Words carried weight. To break an oath was not merely emotional failure, it was dishonor. The bride and groom were sometimes wrapped together in a cloak, physically joined before their gathered kin. The art declared shared fate. Their fortunes would rise and fall together. Ale was drunk. Toasts were made. Ancestral spirits were invoked. Marriage was not sealed quietly. It was forged. Dowries and mourning gifts formalized economic agreements. Property and inheritance were clearly defined. Like the ketubah in Jewish tradition, Norse marriages included structure. But beneath contract lay loyalty. In sagas and folklore, the worst betrayal was oath-breaking. To swear before community was to bind oneself before gods. Marriage was covenant guarded by honor. Unlike romantic legends of doomed lovers, Vikings' wedding rites emphasized endurance. The sea was harsh. Winters were long. Survival required partnership that held under strain. Love was not naive. It was resilient. The exchange of swords did not suggest aggression within marriage. It symbolized mutual guardianship. Husband and wife defended household and kin. Union created strength. Strength ensured survival. When vows were completed, the couple did not retreat from society. They stepped deeper into it. Marriage expanded responsibility. It did not narrow it. Sacred union, in Norse tradition, was forged like iron, heated, shaped, cooled, and tempered. The covenant endured because it was witnessed, structured, and bound to honor. And in that oath, love became legacy. Hey everybody, welcome in, or welcome back in, I should say. Hope you enjoyed those 4 stories. Our daily thread for today, the marriage on February 3rd, is that across cultures, marriage is not merely romance. It is covenant, witnessed by something greater. The Greeks aligned union with the balance of heaven and earth. Jewish tradition wrote love into law so commitment would endure beyond feeling. Andean rituals rooted partnership and reciprocity with the living land. Norse vows bound couples through honor, oath, and shared strength. Sacred union lasts when love is carried not only in the heart, but in responsibility, witness, and promise. So with all 4 of these, we got to see, it was just a well-rounded, I think, day of stories, where we got to see all the different aspects of what we are vowing to within marriage itself. So in the first one, the Greek story, the sacred marriage, Zeus and Hera are the divine union above that mythology, right? And they are definitely, like I said, they're not gentle figures.
Right.
They do not forgive when you disrespect the very things that you are promising to uphold. Hera, especially, we see that with her constant consequences she hands out to people that turn their back on their marriages. The important note on this one is that love is not merely emotion. It is covenant enacted before community and cosmos. Sacred union sustains order. So this one reminded me of that idea of who you're making your vow under. So we say Zeus and Hera for the terms of the Greek mythology. Whatever you believe in, who you're making your vow with, you know, that's that story of, well, it's between you, me, and God. So keep that in mind. I may be the one that doesn't know what's going on, but I'm not the one you got to worry about it.
Right.
You know? So this one was just heavily that. Sacred marriage rites, they just influenced a lot of Mediterranean religious practices. This idea of it's a big deal and you will be held accountable for the promises and the vows that you make to people and how well you uphold them. Because if a union like that, if the people aren't invested in it, nothing in their world is going to function right. That's what it's saying. The cosmos align. Yeah, in your world, when you and your partner, the person you are choosing to, you vowed to, are in alignment, that doesn't mean you're not arguing. That doesn't mean there aren't struggles. If you're not in alignment, the world around you is skewed. The way we perceive others, the way we handle stress, the way that we love others. It all comes from that major union that we make. And you don't have to get married and have a big wedding to have that union. There are soul marriages. There are, like I said, it's between you, me, and God. That's who we got to worry about in this story. That's what it reminds us of. And this story is not at all saying that nothing else matters. You know, there aren't big weddings. I mean, it's a community wedding. Of course, it's a big deal. This one's just telling us you're going to reap what you sow, right? I liked that. So that was our first one. God is a part of our marriage. Whatever culture, folklore, whatever faith you have, the ultimate being, the supreme being, the life force, our life force is there, and it's acknowledging and it's noting that these are two beings that I love and created. And so you guys are promising to love each other like I love you.
Yeah.
Not what you think love is, because you're promising it to me now. So you need to love each other like I would. And so there's that. Okay, the second one, the Ketubah, the ancient Jewish marriage covenant. The wedding canopy represents the home the couple would build. This is all about the home that you are going to build. I really liked that it mirrored sacred promise, right? Didn't diminish romance or anything. It just protected it. The written contract in marriage matters. And how people say there's certain things, oh, the taboo and you don't want whatever. No, you should be coming in very clear. Why would you be afraid to ask about the details of things before you combine lives?
Right.
That's always been something that I get it. Like, for example, the biggest thing is a prenup. People are always scared to talk about prenups. Not always, whatever. Because, oh, well, now you're just putting out there that it might not work. No, I'm coming in very clear.
If it
If
does.
you aren't being honest, I'm walking away with what I have still, though. I don't think that you're being dishonest, obviously, because I'm walking into this marriage and stuff, but that's all right. That's all right to share that. I just wanted to really identify the last ones because it's not taking out the romance of it at all. I don't think that takes out the romance by understanding what you're signing up for. Unlike tragic lovers who defy social order, the Ketubah affirms it. Unlike sacred reenactments of gods, it grounds union in everyday life. It declares that love is not only feeling, it is commitment, written, signed, and upheld. And in that structure, sacred union finds endurance. You have to uphold it. How can you uphold it if you don't know what you've written to vow to, what you've signed on for? Truly. What does better or worse look like? What better do I stand for? What worse is not okay? But in Jewish tradition, marriage is covenant. Love becomes enduring when it is defined, witnessed, and upheld in sacred agreement. It was kind of like that cartoon we started watching yesterday, where they were getting married, and yeah, it's like whatever, post-apocalyptic, but he's asking her what her last name is. and like what her favorite and she's like, well, we can get to know each other later, even though they just promised to like get like they made an engagement and all that stuff. And it's just kind of funny that
And then they don't get married because she realizes who he is.
yeah,
She's like, wait, time out. Never
he
mind.
couldn't even stand to be around him. And it's like those shows where you're engaged before you meet and all of this stuff, and scary. Like I do get like the jump of, I mean, it's like anytime you meet someone and you're not sure that you're going to get married with them, and then all of a sudden you are. But what does that look like? Like I said, are we signing on to love the person as they are now, intending that I'm not changing, I don't want you to change either, or vice versa, like we're both changing or anything. So
yeah, and then it doesn't necessarily have to be a change. It's a drastic change, but
no,
grow.
yeah,
Like growth. Just that's all I expect.
or like certain things we used to like we don't like anymore, and both of us have moved on to different things, you know. That's all right. Okay, so this first one all about our union with each other and God. The second one is defining what we're doing and allowing people to witness it. This third one is offering our union and our vows and our marriage to the land itself too, acknowledging how everything around us has allowed us to be here, to be united, to continue forward and to survive and to all of this stuff with the land, you know, and with each other. The important note in this one is that marriage is covenant with one another and the earth. So love is sustained through reciprocity, gratitude, and balance. Gratitude is a huge part of marriage. Grateful for what we have, you know, not what I want. I'm grateful that you did what I asked you to do. That's not gratitude, you know. Nastiness isn't involved in gratitude. And we lose that when we say things like that, you know? But like how it says in this exact story, it says, if drought comes, offering increases. If hardship comes, prayer deepens. You know, when things are tough, that's when we need the gratitude. That's when we ourselves have to believe it, and our tone and the way we say it like that affects our belief in it ourselves. You know, so this one's reminding us that when life gets hard, turn inward, but also remember to pray. Remember to give thanks. Remember to offer help to others. You know, that's what this one reminds us of, is that we're all in this together and the land is with us. Let's move on to the fourth one. The Viking wedding oath customs. Something I really, really, really love about the Viking ceremonies is that we're both promising to protect. Both are. And whatever our strength is, they're both putting their strengths forward to protect this household, this vow, and everything that comes from it. Strength isn't negative. The masculinity isn't negative or anything like that. This is saying both you and I promise to put our strengths forward. Should you weaken and I can be strong, I will. Vice versa, until we can both be there again. But I loved that this is another story where we've seen where these older cultures weren't always hate women. No, we see it all the time. Like these barbarian primitive cultures, they're like, no, I'm a female that's contributing to this, and I'm actually going to contribute
Well, that's
just
because
as much.
way back then too, though, is women were held to a higher regard. Like they had medicine women,
There
sometimes
wasn't,
more than
yeah,
medicine men. In some cultures there were, because women truly are
connected to
higher and
that.
connected way more than men are, and they flopped it to like keep us down. I think personally, societally, as
Oh,
a
that witch
human,
hunting that
like
went around
yeah,
everywhere.
they smush that down because women are more susceptible to the light and able to use that energy. And it was unfortunate that we had to go through this, but now moving forward, you know, let your light shine. If you're a woman that feels that calling of there's something out there, there's something in me, it's probably because there is.
100%.
So, you know, find those people that are your tribe, your people that will help you experience what that is. whatever
And
it is.
strength isn't the same coming from both partners.
Yeah.
And strength isn't always being the louder, the bigger, the bolder one.
Sometimes
Sometimes,
ability to hold.
yeah, sometimes it's the ability to hold your partner when they're struggling and just not being able to do anything but
Yeah.
comfort them.
But
That's
that's
it.
a necessity, especially so from a man's point of view to a woman. Like for you to, as a man, when we come home to our woman and we had just like a moment and we just want that. Like, no, we don't want you to hold us like our mother did, even though that's kind of what it is. But it's that embrace, and we don't want to be looked at as weaker or something. And then unless we trust you, you'll never see that. But I'll guarantee you, every man wants that. He wants that woman that will hold him and allow us to be vulnerable in that moment that we need it. But then as soon as that moment's done, we're done. What are you talking about? You
Right.
know, but let us have that moment. But then don't bring it up either.
Yeah. I've never talked
That's,
about your lip quiver moments after you've quivered them lips.
I don't think my eyes could roll any more or less. Just
They probably can roll so much because they've been emptied.
balls.
Yeah, from all them tears lately. I'm sorry we missed one Taco Tuesday. You can let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Don't think about tacos no more. A major point for the last two, the last story is community. So the important note was that marriage was oath and alliance. Love became sacred when it was sworn before community and upheld through honor. Okay, so that right there. This swearing is done in front of the community, but then it is on you to uphold it. It is on you to have integrity. That means it's not on the community member to check in with me to make sure I've been honest and faithful. It's on me. And the community will fracture if I stray because I made that vow to them, which means whatever the case may be.
Yeah, because if you make it to the one person as the community witnessing, that I'm just picturing this as in back then, not necessarily
Yeah.
today, but it could be today, is I vow to you this. Now, you as a community member, I'm expecting you to be a certain type of person, and I'm relying on you for something, right? And I'm going to expect that. Now I see you break this oath, and I'm like, wait, well, what about the thing that we have? Like, yes,
Right.
no, it's not a marriage type of
Like
thing,
that
but
CEO lady.
do I really believe you now?
Right. This story also reminds us with community of you're also witnessing, which means, and you don't have to be at the wedding to witness that people are together. If you choose to try to fracture that,
Right?
you are choosing to fracture that community, that bond, that everything that happened because of whatever your reason may be. But that's something too, is that you saw that this happened. Whatever, you've witnessed it as well. And you're choosing to disrespect something that was made under God, the earth, with written contracts, all of that stuff. You are also choosing to disrespect that. That just feels like, bad karma. Anyways, with that, the marriage, the lesson is love is covenant, as we saw. Our question for today is what bond defines me? So, what bond defines me? And then today, our activity is that we are going to bless our right hand, acknowledging what it has, acknowledging what it has promised and upheld. So, we're going to bless our hand, give acknowledgement to our right hand, and acknowledge all that it has promised and upheld. Our application for today is that love becomes covenant when commitment is honored as law. So when we honor it as it is written, then love is just the way of life, as it should be.
Right.
But that's all that we have for you guys today. So think about what bond defines me. Think about all the promises that have been upheld and made. And then remember to give yourself a little love today. But that's all that we have for you today, February 23rd.
Thank you. See you guys later.